Riding vintage classic bikes feels pretty good when you're riding, when you fire the bike up for the first time or the 100th time. If you ride an old 500 single, you've got that pulling power. A lot of torque, maybe not fast on the really old bikes. It's just the feel of the bike. And yes, not a lot of them don't vibrate. Yeah, they do, but they don't. It's a feel. It's just all the noise, the sounds that the bike makes that really pulls you in. And once you're in, you're done. You're hooked. It's a different feel. It takes you back to a time when your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather rode these bikes. The roads were not paved. They were gravel, potholes. So when you ride a vintage bike, you think about that, what everyone did. And girder forks and rigid frames. You watch out for the potholes. It's a different experience. You got levers, you advance lever. You're riding 30 miles an hour on the really old bikes on the back roads. It's a working experience to ride one of these old bikes. And I think today a lot of people feel intimidated, and they shouldn't. And if they ride an old bike, I think they would actually fall in love with them. My first vintage bike is my 1953 Ariel VHA. It was about 1977. My friend Tom Calbury looked in the Shoppers Market magazine. He says, "Hey, look, there's an old motorcycle for sale." I said, "What is it?" He says, "It's an Ariel." And I said, "What the is an Ariel?" So we phoned the guy, we went out and bought it. It was owned by the gentleman's brother. It was pushed in a barn in 1961, the year that his brother died, and it sat. I made the deal for a whopping $65. Brought it home the next day in the daylight. I went, "Oh my, what have I bought?" It was horrible. Those days, we didn't have anything. There was no internet. There was no magazines. And around 1979, when my mother came back from the UK, she brought the Classic Bike magazine home. That opened up the doors. Once we got the bike running, still crude, it wasn't until 1992 I actually got the bike restored, and I still kind of restored it over the years. And I've had the bike. I can't describe, it's a beautiful bike. It's unique in every way, and that's what got me hooked. Restoring bikes, I enjoy. To restore something that's beyond repair, to bring it back to life and running, like my 31 Ariel, which I got laughed at when I brought it home. Now people say, "Wow, that's awesome." But to take that for a ride when you're finished, it's great. People do it because it's a hobby, because that's what they're passion. People do it because there is the passion for it, not because they have to, but it's there, the love to restore these old bikes. And the challenge, like I say, the challenge is there. Without the challenge, I think a lot of us would be bored.
There's a niche for a market for people who grew up, let's say, with 70s bikes. So I bring my 70s bikes, and people can relate to that. It's a 500 Kawasaki triple, and people can always go back to high school and think about the kid who owned one, or the kid that did the wheelie. It leaves a lasting impression. So now they've probably gone out and bought one. They sold it, and like many of us, we want it back. It's enjoyment for them, I guess, to see something they had. For the really old bikes, it's kind of goes back to a time when things were really simple. Well, it's enjoyment. I think whether it's, it's someone talking about the 500 triple, again, about the youth and their time, or it's their father in the war, who he remembers riding in a Norton, and, a lot of it's just, people can relate to that. It's a great part of history, or it's just so unique. That's what they love, and they love the open concept, the valves, the simplicity. Yeah, when they show their love and enjoyment, it's really nice to see. Doesn't matter what you ride. Everybody loves a bike.